What's up, guys? Sage here. Polyurethanes. You love them, you hate them. Anyway, today I'm going to show you how to swap your old, disgusting, ratty polyurethanes with new, upgraded, okay, we're not just swapping them with the same old, tiny 90mm polyurethanes, okay? We're putting on the big boys, alright? We're pulling out the big guns. The 100mm polyurethanes. Observe the beef. The beef is there. Here's how you do it. Basically, if you look back there, you'll see it's pretty simple. There's just 6 hex screws. I believe they're size 2 or 2.5 hex. When you buy the 100mm replacement kit, MEEPO actually will send you a hex bit that you can use to unscrew them. So just go back there and start unscrewing the screws with the hex bit they provided. If your polyurethanes were as abused as mine were, your screws, the heads will be kind of bent out of shape and scratched and damaged, and the hex might not fit in there very well. So what I did to get through that is there were a few screws where I would have to put the hex in as best I could and hit it with a hammer and just, you know, kind of convince it to actually get grip. And then once I did that, you just crank off the screws. They will definitely have a little resistance at first, especially if you are doing a replacement like 1,000 miles in, which is what I'm doing. My board now has like 950 miles on it, so it's gone a long distance, which is why these polyurethanes are so wrecked. Once you unscrew all 4 of them, you're just going to want to kind of plant your foot on the board and grab with both hands on either side of the polyurethane and just do one tug straight back, and it should slide off. And make sure when you pull it out, there's a little bearing that is in the polyurethane, and on my board the bearing stayed stuck on the motor and didn't come out with the polyurethane, so I had to go back and pull that off separately. So once the polyurethane is off and you've made sure the bearing is off, next up you are just going to want to take the new 100mm polyurethane, and there's really 2 ways to go about this. You can kind of move it into place and let it snap itself into place if you are worried about holding onto it, because it is very powerful, the magnets. Be careful with this because this is very strong and it might take you by surprise. So make sure your fingers are out of the way of the contact zone. So just slide it on. The next thing you do after you've gotten the polyurethane slid on and you hopefully haven't cut off your fingers is you want to make sure all 6 screw holes in the polyurethane line up with all 6 holes in the cone. So just kind of twist it around on there and line them all up. Then I'm sure you can extrapolate, just start screwing the screws back in, go all the way around, kind of snug them up at first, then go back around and torque them all down. I torqued them down just until I felt a decent amount of resistance. I'd say it was probably 5, 6, or 7 foot-pounds, so not that high, but high enough that they felt secure, but I wasn't like cranking on it. You know, I don't want to strip these out. And then once you've done all that and torqued it all down, just make sure the wheel spins freely. Both wheels should spin freely. They should not make any grinding noises, clicking noises, or anything of the sort. And then there you go. You got new 100mm wheels, and you're ready to go. Alright, so now I want to talk about the 100mm wheel upgrade. If you look at the 90mm wheels, there's just so little polyurethane between the road and the metal parts. And anytime you go over a little rock or a bump or anything like that, the rock is usually taller than the polyurethane. And if you look at my motors, you can see they're just absolutely destroyed. All the polyurethane has been chipped away by rocks, and the rocks have gone all the way in and started bruising the metal, and it's just not in good condition. And I'm sure you noticed while I was taking off the motors that there's literal chunks of metal out of the cone. So that is just because this polyurethane is so thin that it just, if you ride aggressively or if you ride on not smooth roads with rocks, you know, and there's always rocks on roads, even really nice roads, there's always going to be rocks pushed off to the edge unless your city regularly does street sweeping, which most cities don't. So just keep that in mind. So when you buy a MEEPO V3, I highly recommend buy the 100mm polyurethane with it. And honestly, I think MEEPO should have shipped this board with the 100mm polyurethane in the first place. It's only $38 shipped, and they'll arrive at about the same time. But yeah, absolutely buy the 100mm polyurethane, and it will make your life a lot easier. You won't have to do this as soon. These polyurethanes are supposed to last 1,800 miles, and I have no doubt that the 100mm polyurethanes last 3,000 miles. These polyurethanes last about 1,000 tops. Like you can see, this is 1,000 miles, and they're destroyed. And not only are they destroyed, but they allowed the irreplaceable part, which is the inner cone, to get destroyed as well because of how thin they are. So I highly recommend when you buy a V3, get the 100mm polyurethanes. They're a lot better. Also, now the board does 32 miles an hour, which is fucking awesome. Anyway, that was it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to swap your motors. I highly recommend you do it. If you just got the board, honestly, buy these now. It feels like I'm riding on a cloud right now. This extra polyurethane is absolutely essential. Anyway, guys, that was my video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm coming back with another video next Monday. Probably going to be an electric bike video, but this one is the cool electric bike video in which I actually put on the motor and stuff, and it will be more interesting than the last one. I was just excited to get a video out because I just got on the bike and it's a very cool bike. So I'll see you guys Monday, I suppose. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and leave an angry comment if you didn't enjoy the video. I reply to all comments and heart them, so it's because I, you know, just obsessed with that social media. Alright, anyway, I'll see you guys. Toodles.